All right, welcome back to the SSL Family Dad channel. Today we're going to talk all about the equipment that I use to shoot video on the YouTube channel. We have gotten a few questions over the years. You know, every once in a while somebody will ask, hey, would you show, what you're using? How do you shoot videos? How do you edit videos? What's all the stuff that you use? Especially through this time, the whole coronavirus thing, a lot of people working from home, at home, off of work and other things. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of people looking to start YouTube channels or do video type blogs or vlogs or websites or other things like that. And so hopefully this will find some use to someone out there. So I'll start by just getting a couple things out of the way before I dig into the equipment that I have, that I use and that I have found to be the best over the years. I've been doing YouTube for about 5 or 6 years now. I also have some experience in church audio and things like that. But other than that, outside of that, and other than having a lot of computer experience, that being my profession, I'm not an expert in videography. I've never taken any college classes about videography or audio or anything like that. Most of everything that I know and have learned is pretty amateur. And so, and that's the great thing about YouTube, is that you don't have to be an expert to make YouTube videos and make good content, put good content out there. Hopefully put good content out there sometimes. But you don't have to be an expert in order to do this. And all of the stuff that I have is very, very low budget. I have not invested thousands of dollars into equipment. Over the years, I have made some upgrades in things, but I generally am very low budget. I don't have a lot of extra money to throw into equipment. And so that's what you're going to see here is a very, very entry-level stuff, something that just about anybody can get started doing this for probably under $100, maybe $150 if you want to, spring on some extras. So let's start with the cameras that I have found to be the best over the years. What do you need to use to actually shoot video? That's kind of the core of where you're going to start. And then we'll spread out from there into some of the accessories, tripods and mounts and microphones and other things that you may want to have or that you'll need to shoot some pretty decent video. Okay, so I'm going to show you two different cameras that I have used over the years to shoot video. The first and foremost, and the one that I use almost 100% of the time now, is my phone. This is a Samsung Galaxy S9 or Note 9, I believe. This is the really high quality. I mean, I can shoot in 4K. I can shoot really high resolutions in this. I generally do not. I generally shoot 1080p or what they consider quality HD, which I think is 2560 by 1440. But you can shoot really high quality on the front-facing camera, here, and the rear-facing camera. So both cameras have really high quality. iPhones also obviously are going to work great. The Samsung Galaxy series of phones and the iPhones have both been shown to be extremely high quality cameras, probably higher quality than you're going to get in a lot of your mid-range camcorders. And so that's why I use this. Another reason I use my phone to shoot most of my video is because I always have it with me. It's one of the things that I'm always going to have with me anyway. And so this just means I have one less thing that I need to carry around with me in order to shoot video. So you don't need anything but your cell phone. If you have a decent newer cell phone, meaning that it's not more than 2 years old, you probably have everything that you need to shoot high definition video, good quality video. And I'll talk a little bit more about audio here in a minute, but let me show you the other camera that I have used that also is pretty good. That's the one that you're looking at me through right now. So the other camera that I have used, and I use this one sometimes if I do multi-camera shots, or for a while my camera lens on my phone was cracked, and so I was using this one a lot. This is a Sony Handycam. The model is an HDR XR260. It's an older camera, but it still shoots high definition. I shot in 1080p, I believe, with this one for years. It has a nice flip around screen, which is easy for me if I'm shooting myself, like right now, where on my phone I don't have a screen where I can see if I'm in the shot or not. This is helpful for that. And so this camera served me well for a long time. Sony is known for real high quality lenses. They're not as user-friendly as some of the other cameras out there, and they're not as cheap as some of the other cameras out there. But this is a good kind of mid-level camcorder. It wasn't that expensive. I actually bought this one used off a friend of mine for, I think, 150 bucks. And so you can find a lot of these out there on eBay. This one is a good one even for today's day and age. It's a hard drive camera. It records right onto a hard drive, and then I just plug it into my computer and download the videos off of it. Audio is not that great on this, but you can, which I'll talk about, of course, plug in external microphones. And so that being said, let's talk a little bit about microphones. Audio is one of the, is half of the video. The first year I shot videos, I was using a Canon DSLR. It shot great video, but the audio was horrible on it. And that affected a lot of my videos, and a lot of people wouldn't watch because the audio was not that good. And so let me show you some cheap ways to get around that. We'll talk about wired and wireless options, as well as a DIY kind of wireless option that I use very often. So this is what I very often do if I need a wireless microphone option. I'm going to show you some of the things that you should not buy, some of the junk kind of products out there that I've tried. But this is what I have found to be a great wireless option. Basically what I'm doing is I'm recording right now through that Sony Handycam, and I have my phone hooked up with a lapel microphone. And so I'm recording with the voice recorder on my phone, and I'm recording into this lapel. This is a $15, I think, maybe $20 lapel microphone. It's a Pop Voice, I think is the brand. I'll put a link to in the description to this. It's a cheap lapel. It's an omnidirectional lapel, which means that no matter which way I turn it, you can still hear me pretty decently. It shouldn't affect the audio too much as I move it around here. You want to make sure that you look for that, and I highly recommend this. I buy a lot of these. I lose them, I break them, and I buy a couple of these, you know, a year, probably 3 or 4 of them a year. And so I highly recommend having a cheap lapel. So with this setup, I can be completely wireless. I can go as far away from the camera as I want, and you can still hear me well because I've got my phone recording here. This allows me to be completely wireless, and what I do is I just take the track, the voice recording track from my phone, and I sync that up to the video from the camcorder in my editor. And I'll talk real briefly about the editor that I use, but you can do that in any of the main editors. You can sync an audio track up to your video track, and then you basically mute the audio from the camcorder that's not that great, and you just use this audio from the microphone. All right, so let me show you a couple of the other things that I have used. This is kind of my catch-all bin. I have tried this. This actually came with my daughter's camcorder. It's a cheap shoe. They call this a hot shoe or an accessory mount for cameras. And this is supposed to be a little powered microphone, and this never worked right. It's a piece of junk, and I would never recommend any of these cheap microphones. Just total junk. I've also have this lapel microphone. Now this one is not too bad. It comes with what they call a dead cat or a wind break. This one has actually been pretty good, but it has so much cord. I think it's like 25 feet of cord. So if I wanted to record, you know, from a good distance away from my camera, I can use this. However, the problem with this is that I have an electric fence running around the property, and because there's so much cable here, it actually picks up the snapping interference of the electric fence somehow. And so in all my videos, I get this clicking sound if I'm anywhere near the fence. And so I don't use this one that often. I will link this in the description, though. It's a nice little microphone. It comes with some good wind guards and different, you know, wind socks and stuff like that. And a nice long cord if you don't have an electric fence. It works pretty good. This one here is a newer microphone that I just recently got. And this one actually mounts to my my cell phone mount. I'll show you this here in just a minute. It mounts right on top of my tripod of equipment here. But this one is a pretty good microphone. I've been using this one in a lot of videos. It's nicer than having the lapel wires dangling from me when I'm, you know, out and about and running around the property. And it's got this huge windsock on it. So if I'm shooting anything outside that's really windy, I'll throw this one together and I'll use this one. I usually have this one with me and mounted right to my tripod, so it's always ready to go. Okay, here's a great example of what not to do. I got cheap, and I really wanted to have a wireless microphone. I thought how great it would be to do that, and I sprung 60 or 70 bucks for this cheap little Chinese, you know, wireless mic kit. The wireless part worked really good. I never had any trouble with the wireless connection, but the microphone is attached, and the microphone was awful. It was so directional that if I have it clipped to my shirt, if I'm talking right above it, it sounds great. If I turn my head at all to either side or up or down, it makes a huge difference in the level of the voice. And so it really wrecked a couple videos I did, and so I just stopped using it. and you can't replace the microphone. Instead of just putting a microphone jack here where I could use a better high quality lapel, they have it wired right in here, and so you can't do anything with this. So this thing is kind of a complete waste. I could have sent it back probably, but I thought, well, maybe I'll use it sometime. I never have used it in months since I bought it. I used it a couple times, and here it sits. It did come with some accessories that I'll probably use down the road, little plugs and things, and another microphone splitter, and this nice little case that I can store it in and never use it. Okay, so the other thing outside of just a standard tripod that you're going to need, and I guess I'll talk about that first. So I have these pretty cheap tripods. The brand is ZOMEI, and they seem to be pretty decent. And the thing is, there are some really nice Australian-made, and I think there's even a couple American-made tripods that are really nice, aluminum, metal, full-bodied, you know, nice, expensive, $200, $300, $400 tripods. The reason I do not buy, this is one of those things where I just buy a cheaper one. I like the metal body on these. It's just a standard tripod. I think this one's like a 55-inch. My problem is that I destroy things. So this thing gets thrown on tractors. It gets thrown in the back of things. It gets thrown, carried all over the place, left outside. I mean, it really gets beat up. I've run over a couple tripods and just totally destroyed the legs and bent them and broke them and things. And so I'm not going to go and spend $200 or $300 on a tripod that I have a pretty good chance of breaking out here on the farm. That's just me. If you're shooting mainly inside and you want a higher quality tripod, that's great. But for me on the homestead out here, I gotta weigh the cost versus risk, and so I don't get a lot of expensive tripods. This one has lasted me about a year. It wasn't that expensive, so these ones are pretty good. They have plastic clips on them that for the leg extensions. And this, like I said, 55 inches. There are taller ones. I've had up to a 70-inch before, 73-inch, I think. So it goes a lot taller, which is nice, but this one has been fine. And so the other thing is this cell phone mount. Now I have found there are cheaper mounts. This one here is a plastic spring-loaded mount. You wedge your phone in here. I won't be able to do this too good on camera, but and it mounts to the tripod like that. This one is okay, but again, it's plastic and it cracked. I have this. I saved it as a backup in case I need it. The best one is this Ulanzi. It's an all metal. Like everything is metal. The thumb screw here is metal. The whole thing is metal. The screws are metal. The pins are metal. Everything is metal on this. And so this has been a lifesaver. This cell phone clamp has been perfect. The tripod will come with the mount piece that just clips in here, and then it's got a spring on it. You just slide your phone in and then tighten the thumb screw on the top, and then you're ready to shoot. Nice thing about this particular mount is that it has this shoe on the top, and so again, like I said, I can use this big microphone. It actually, I don't know if you can see the little shoe here, and so this just slides right in there, and I can tighten that down. And then I have a microphone that mounts right to the top of this. This is also great for lights. So you can get LED lights that mount right in the top of this as well. This is called a shotgun microphone. Again, this is a cheaper one, so it is a little lower quality. You can tell the difference between this. I'll show you here in a minute the difference between this microphone and this lapel that I'm using. Okay, so this is the audio with the Pop Voice lapel microphone. Again, it's about a $15 microphone. And now I'm going to show you the little shotgun microphone, show you the difference. And this is the audio with that shotgun microphone, that cheaper shotgun microphone. You'll notice it sounds more distant, and the levels a lot of times are a lot lower, and so I'll sometimes need to boost those up in the editor, gain them up a little bit. But the audio with this is pretty good, and again, it has that windsock on it that's really good, and so high wind situations, that thing works out really well. So last two things, a lot of information in this video, but hopefully this helps somebody out. Drone, I'm not going to talk about too much. I've used a cheaper drone that a company sent me a couple years ago, and it worked okay. I actually traded a few goats for a drone from a friend of ours last year, and that drone is a step up. It's a few $100 drone, and that one works pretty good. I'll put a link to the drone in the description, but we can do a separate video on drone stuff. The DJI Phantoms and the DJI Sparks and the DJI series of drones are probably what I would get into if you really want to spend the money, but they start at like $400 or $500, and so I haven't made that jump yet. I haven't made that leap. And the last thing is the video editor. So what do I use to edit all this video? I started with Windows Movie Maker, and that is no longer a thing anymore. But years ago, 5-6 years ago, I started with that Windows Movie Maker. It was free. If you have a Mac computer, you could use iMovie, which would work fine for just splicing clips together, making some minor adjustments and things like that. But what I use now 100% of the time is a product called CyberLink Power Director, and it comes with a screen recorder for your computer, which I've used from time to time. It comes with an audio editor, it comes with a video editor, and a couple other items. And it is, to me, the easiest to use and most powerful editor. I've used some of the Adobe stuff in the past. I think that's great if you know it and learn it. Adobe stuff is awesome, a little more expensive. CyberLink Power Director is not as expensive. I believe I pay like $100 a year or something, sometimes $79, $69 on sale. I'll get the newest version. And so that works great for me. And I actually got that recommendation from Wrangler Star many years ago. That's what he used. I don't know if he still uses that or not, but that's what he used and started with. And so I gave it a try, and it worked really well. And so I'll also put a link to that in the description. So anything that I showed here today, there'll be links in the description. Over on Amazon, of course, you can check that stuff out. And let me know if you guys have questions about anything that I've forgot and left out. But this is what I use. It's very basic equipment. I've tried a lot of different things over the years, and this is just what I found to be the most cost-effective and produce the most decent quality videos, I hope. Please let me know if you have questions, guys. I'd love to hear from you. Don't forget to hit thumbs up on today's video, and of course subscribe if this is your first time to the SSL Family Dad channel. We do homesteading and farming and DIY things here, gardening and repairs and building things and fixing stuff and all kinds of things related to that. And so we'd love to have you tag along. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Have a good one.